How is everyone? Good? Winning?
Yes, actually.
You're on the struggle bus today, are you? Oh, I know the struggle bus well. I've been on every stop. I've been a conductor and a driver of the struggle bus. And I've been dragged behind it as well. So. That's when you know you're in the shit, when you're dragged behind the struggle bus. Yeah, the struggle bus has had enough of you and runs you over, yeah. That's a bad state as well. And everyone on the struggle bus has had enough of you as well. That's when it's time to get off, right?
You asked to get off.
Get off the bus.
Can we get on the magic bus?
This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get on the magic bus.
Sunshine bus.
Sunshine bus.
Variety coach.
The mystical bus. Trying to, it's a funny thing, isn't it? You realise that you don't actually get off the struggle bus. You realise that the struggle bus is also the mystical bus. You realise that the struggle bus is Pure Land. It's a nirvana.
A multi-sensory bus.
A multi-sensory bus, yeah. Multi-sensory experience. Bringing forth great wisdom and compassion and learning and, what a wonderful thing life is. This is what we have to do, is kind of liberate our perspective on things. It's not the things themselves that are causing a problem, it's the perspective on what's happening. In Buddhism they call it the view, having the view, Doesn't mean that anything changes, it's just the view. There's a story about a Rinpoche passing his teachings onto his son, and the son can't get it because it sounds too heady, and he's lying on the floor at night crying, because he can't understand the teachings. And Rinpoche comes out to him and says, "Why are you crying?" He said, "I can't understand it. I'll never be what you are. I'll never be able to, have the view." He said, "Do you hear the dog barking?" He said, "Yeah." He said, do you see the moon? And do you see the moon's light dancing on the water? He said, "Yes." "And do you hear my voice?" He said, "Yeah." And he's like, "That's a view. That's it. Just that." What he means is it's just falling into what's happening, rather than the fabrications that you're making up in your mind, that you're overlaying on to existence. It's these that are causing the suffering. They're called obscurations, so it's like clouds that arise in your consciousness, and they cloud the view of things as they are. So what we're trying to do with this teaching is just to remove everything from the mind and just be as we are. This is why it's such a profound teaching. It's not a belief system. It's just trying to remove all the belief systems that you have within you, that are apparently arising in your mind. So you're left with a clear experience of your own self. This is not a religion. It's pointing to what you are. This is why it's so incredible. There's nothing to believe. There's no dogma. It's just your own nature, your own being. So what we're working at doing is surrendering all of these turbulences in the mind, and a lot of these are caused, most of these are caused by desire to have something or to stop something. Causes all sorts of trouble and trauma in your mind. As I was saying yesterday, people meditate in order to try and clear their mind and find peace, but if you're meditating to find peace and then at the same time you're throwing, to put out the fire, and at the same time you're throwing wood on the fire, it doesn't work. So you have to really start to look into this process of mind. What's occurring? Why are all these thoughts arising? Understand that the only reason that you're pursuing the things that you pursue with desire, and the only the reason that you're trying to resist the things that are happening and grasp hold of other things that are happening is because you believe that they will make you happy. You're not looking for chocolate, sex, a partner, a new house. You're not looking for those things, really. You're not actually looking for the objects, are you? You're looking for the feeling that you might get from them. It's the happiness, that you're looking for. And what's happening is that we're actually, when we do this, in a state of utter delusion. You're grasping outside for something that's already your inherent nature. Peace and stillness and happiness are already your nature. It's only because of the desire that you lose them. So you're grasping outside. Interestingly, when we observe desire, we feel the desire for something, and then there's the object that we desire. And when we get hold of the object we want, we think, this feeling, I love it, it makes me so happy. The degree to which we thirst after this object is the degree of the happiness that we get. We're like, we want this, it's great, we've got it. You think it's the object that's causing that, but it's not. It's because when you get what you want, what happens? Your desire collapses. Your desire collapses. And the joy that you're experiencing is the collapse of your desire. So, Buddha was a clever fellow, and he twigged this. Many other people have twigged this as well, from all sorts of paths and religions and whatever else. That's why they abandon everything, They abandon desire, renounce everything, because they realise that happiness is their underlying state, and it's desire that's clouding it. So this is why, as we move through our lives, just try and get rid of them. How do we try and get rid of them? By just letting go. And by realising deep within ourselves that we are already what we're seeking. You are already what you're seeking. The more that this is realised, the more that what I'm saying is realised, the more we realise our underlying nature, the more these desires fall away anyway. So what we're talking about here is cultivating this knowledge, of how things work, how the mind works, how life works. And through that knowledge, this illumination begins to arrive. It's about being wise. It's about intelligently living. Live intelligently. Get clever. Look at what you're doing. Look at the madness of it. Is it making you happy? Let go of it if it's not. And really, as I said, happiness is already your nature, so let go of it all. That doesn't mean you can't have a partner and a house and a job and all those things. It just means you don't cling to them for dear life, You don't have to cling to everything. You don't have to grasp hold of everything. Make sure it stays with you. I want it because it makes me happy, It's an utter state of loss when you don't realise the nature of yourself, your true self, your real self, the actuality of your mind, rather. And what you're experiencing here now is not a you in a body. Your mind is reality. As you sit here now, you're experiencing reality. That mind that you think is you is reality. And all that's happened in my brain, all that's happened in this mind is that it's realised that that's what it is. It knows itself. Reality has woken up to itself within my mind. Your own mind is reality. You think that it's a you. No. The sense of self and the ego is something that arises in your mind, isn't it? We already spoke about how around the age of 18 months you start developing this sense of self, and it builds on top of this mind. And you think that this mind is your personality, the mask. But your mind is reality. That's enlightenment, the realisation. Not for you. Enlightenment is reality realising itself within your own mind. Something happens in this silence that we create when we sit and we just rest, when the desires fall away. When in that stillness, all of a sudden it's as if existence itself sees itself in the mirror of your mind, and all of a sudden, you wake up. know myself. I realise myself. I'm existence, and this body happens to be arising. So everything else seems to be arising. The tying in of I am this individual in this body with this mind falls away. And you start to see that there is just all of this. And there's no differentiation or separation between this and that. There's no this and there's no that. The whole experience becomes oneness, you know? The body is not my form. This is my form. You know? My mind is this emptiness, this unfindable knowingness, this unmanifest, and yet from it all of this arises. This whole existence. And then, as I was saying yesterday, there's this great compassion that arises, and great wisdom as well. Effortlessly. Not having to do anything to find them, to create them, to craft them. They just bubble up like a spring. And you see, the clearer and clearer it gets, you see everything's perfect here. There's nothing wrong here. Nothing wrong is happening. Through this dance around me, through this dance within me, I know myself, I see myself, you know. That's what you're doing here. Whatever's going on in this reality allows you to find know aspects of yourself, to know wisdom, to know compassion, to know kindness, to know what growth is, to know pain, to know suffering. Think about reality, isn't it? Isn't it strange we've got everything mirrored by its opposite and everything in between? You know, light and dark, hot and cold. Isn't that strange? I am the whole universe, and yet I'm experiencing a contraction of tiny little suffering being. Isn't it strange that everything's being experienced? It's almost as if you want to experience everything, isn't it? It's almost as if the universe wants to go on this almighty roller coaster. Heaven and hell and everything in between. Why not? Why not? It wants to forget itself. Existence manifests all these little beings that forget their intrinsic connection with everything. They suffer and they think they're mortal selves in bodies. It convinces itself it's something other than what it is. And then it wakes up to itself and remembers itself. It's really beautiful what's happening. Profoundly beautiful. Profoundly sacred journey that you're on. So the thing is, knowing this, just rest. There's nothing for you to gain here, and there's nothing for you to lose. It's just experience. You know? Try and see through these eyes. Try and uproot within yourself, within your own mind, the idea that there's someone in there suffering, there's someone in there enjoying. These are all hallucinations arising in your mind. You're hallucinating the sense of self. You're hallucinating happiness, you're hallucinating suffering. Any questions about any of this?
Why is it when you go to sleep at night, things seem so, you can wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and things can seem terrible. If it's grief or if it's a problem at work, why is it then when you wake up in the morning that things seem so much better? And then they say the cold light of dawn.
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Because what happens is through the day, you're busying yourself with your thoughts and you're, oh, I'm suffering and oh, I want this and why haven't I got that and why is this happening and you exhaust yourself in your mind. So when you go to sleep at night, you're kind of like, oh, I've had enough of this, whatever's just happened during the day, and then you go to sleep and you go and dream, and even your dream state can be quite turbulent, and then when you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel horrible and I need to get up and maybe I need to walk. I used to do this. I used to go out sometimes in the middle of the night and walk for hours. But then something happens, you're in dream state, and then you go deeper into deep sleep, and it all stops. And then you're just at rest. The whole charade collapses. You go into a profound state of rest, where you remain in this deep, deep state, this deep meditation. And then in the morning you come back up, you rise, and you're fresh, because your mind is rested. So this is what's happening. The difference between someone who has kind of done this inner work and realised the things that I talk about is that their day-to-day life becomes deep sleep most of the time. There's no differentiation between deep sleep and waking state, because the mind is so rested, the desires are stripped away. The mind is completely surrendered. And then in that, there's just rest. It's in that rest that this compassion and wisdom can begin to express itself. The only reason that you're not, having the experience of being a living Buddha is because you're busy causing so much drama in your mind. So much noise and shaking and noise and banging on the water and all of this all day. It stops growth. It's like as if you put a seed in the mud, and every day you're just going like this all the time. It's never going to germinate, is it? You have to leave it in the soil and wait. So ridding the mind of all these desires, going into this deep state of rest. Letting go of all the drama in your mind. Don't try and fix it or resolve it or do anything with it. Just let go. Go into deep rest as much as you can, and you'll start seeing the tree, the great bodhicitta of clear compassion and wisdom begins to rise. So until that day, through the day you drive yourself nuts, and then when you go to sleep it disappears, and you come back. So try and not think as much.
That's the mind, isn't it?
Mind, yeah. Mind. Yeah, it's just habitual patterns. That's all you're doing is, what do I want and how do I get it? And this. There's no resolution to that. You don't get to the point where you're like, oh, I'm happy now, it's resolved and I've got everything that I want. And, you're trying to find stability in something that is not stable. You're looking outside of yourselves and you're trying to hold everything in place and keep it as it is. You want to hide into nothing, because everything is on sand, everything is on water, it's, everything is bursting into life and crashing, everything is being born and then dissolving. Everything's coming and going, everyone, everything, every emotion, every thought. So when you're trying to hold on to everything, it causes very, 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 very big problems. Or when you're trying to fiddle around and manipulate reality, it causes very, very big problems. If you just sit and surrender, then it's fine. All this teaching is just about being sensible. As I said, it's just about living intelligently. But don't think there's resolution here, They call this samsara, the place of, forgetting, the place of birth, life and death, cycle of suffering. Suffering will always come. Always. You go through life and there's loss, and then you die. So while you're trying to manipulate and gain and attain, it becomes a nightmare. When you let go, and you sit and you rest, and you think, you know what, I'm just going to be, and let what comes come, and let what goes go, then it becomes nirvana, it becomes heaven. You know, again, it's this switch of view. This is what we're looking to do.
Just on that, so you have a thought about a thing that, say something, someone's let you down, or you're messing around, or whatever, and it's constantly there, and try and sort of, okay, let go, it's not important, let go, and it won't go.
Because you have an expectation of things. It won't go because you feel entitled to hold on to it. So when you say someone's let you down, if you live in that state of someone's let me down, then you're going to always feel like the victim of that person or that thing. So what you do is you have to completely change your perspective on it. Let people let you down. It's not, the fault's not with them, it's with you.
So on that, like, practically, here is the example. Builder, supposed to have finished, hasn't finished.
Yeah.
Small job,
Yeah.
but has been drawing it out. Now it's more money, it's this, it's that, whatever. It's a small job, but it's something that happens.
Yeah.
And whether it's a builder or a person or someone who says they're going to do something and then they don't do it. If that's my misconception, talking about what we were talking about yesterday, how? So I get it. I need to shift how I see this. But how do I get to the point?
You have to have a complete inner transformation. You can't.
Right.
You can't. You cannot. You cannot. You can mess around and play with it, and people do on the spiritual path for many, many moons. You mess around and play with it, mess around and play with it, and you do work on this and work on that. But you have to have this complete inner transformation if you want it to end. Not just the issue with the builder and your emotions about that, but your emotions about this and this and that and that and that. You have an attachment to what's happening. This is what's happening. So you have a builder doing something and you have an expectation that this is what they should do.
Yeah.
So instead of going, do this, and then when they don't do it, please do that, I'm not going to pay you, or this is going to be a problem, or blah, 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 blah. And then if they don't do it, okay, fuck off now, bye-bye. You know, what you're doing is oh, why are they doing this? And, and that is because you have an attachment to receiving pleasure and avoiding pain. You know, you have an attachment within your mind. You don't want to experience suffering. You don't want to experience inconvenience. You don't want to be inconvenienced. You don't want people to let you down. You don't want this. You don't want that. So the root of this is attachment and desire, and that's what you've got to get rid of. You've got to get surrendered to the flow of life. When builders let you down, builders let you down. When builders build lovely things, builders build lovely things. People break your heart, they break your heart. When they don't, they don't.
So ruminating on that, I get that.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting, I'm doing my sit, and I'm acknowledging that, and I'm hearing you, and I'm saying, okay, let it go. So in terms of inner transformation, sounds like that's going to take quite a long time.
It could be instantaneous.
Oh, it can?
Yeah, can be. Could be here now if you want. Could be instantaneous. To whom is all this arising? Who does the desire to have things built belong to? And who's the sufferer of the builder not doing what he wants? I want to know about this one you're talking about.
Well, so it's my studio.
No. To whom is this happening? To whom? To whom?
Well, I'm allowing it.
Who's this I that's allowing it? This one. This I. I'm interested in this one.
Yeah.
What's the nature of this one? There. You're looking in. Are you looking in now?
I'm looking.
Yeah. Stay there. Look at that one. Keep looking at that one. Keep looking at that one. Keep looking at that one until you see that one. Then find out whether that one suffers. Find out whether that one's ever changing. Find out if that one's moving at all. Find out if pain touches that one. Find out if joy touches that one. Where you're looking now, you keep looking there. Make sure you keep looking there. Don't stop looking there. You stay there. Keep there. And stay there. Now your thoughts taking you out. Go stay back. Stay there. This one, that one. When you know that one, the builder problem will stop. You won't care about anything. But you'll care about everything. You won't be in the world to profit and avoid loss. That one will begin to express itself as pure wisdom and compassion. You're not what you think you are. That's all I'm trying to get you to do. Who are you? You look at yourself and you see you're changeless. You're making all these stories up about how affected you are and how upset you are, but you're changeless. You're just pure self-cognizant knowingness, pure peacefulness, in which everything is bursting into life. How could you ever think that there was a problem? You're just here, aren't you? You're just here. Something's happening, isn't it? You're just here. That's all there is, isn't there? And it's so simple. Your own nature's so simple, and it clouds over with all of these imagined problems and issues and things. But when you look at yourself, it all stops. Because when you keep looking at yourself, you can't help but see what you're looking at. The only problem is at the moment you're looking outside instead of inside. You don't know yourself. Turn the mind in, know yourself. Then worry about what you think you might want to worry about. You know? Find out who you are, then start worrying about everything else. I promise you, you won't worry about anything when you know yourself. When you know yourself, you'll laugh and cry. I cried for 6 weeks. I was in Tiruvannamalai, and I went up to the Rishikesh, and I sat by the river, and there was this dog that had just had puppies, and I just sat there like this, and just cried, and cried, and cried, and cried. And they were building some house, and there were some guest houses, and one of the women that was doing the building was kind of looking at me like, and I just sat there and cried. Because it had all been so ridiculous. 10 years of suicidal depression, anxiety and trauma and sadness and imagined. And when I looked, there was just this simple awareness and everything just bouncing around, having no effect on it. I couldn't find where that awareness stopped and where objects began. I realised that I was intimately linked to everything. That I was everything. When you know this self, when you turn the mind inwards, All of a sudden there's a complete realization of the nature of not just the mind but reality, because really the mind is reality. So the view that you have of everything changes when you know yourself. So this is the practice. Not focusing on the breath. Not sitting trying to achieve enlightenment. Not trying to gain and attain or profit from anything. Just to sit with yourself. Look at yourself. Look at what's looking. Turn your mind inward. And watch. That's it. So, let's do a little bit of that now. Get yourself nice and comfortable. Just allowing the mind to rest. Nothing to gain or retain. Turning the mind inward. Just as we turn the mind in, just lifting our hearts up and rejoicing in the inquiry, this wisdom, this teaching. How lucky we all are to have this pass through thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years to us in this room here. A wonderful thing's been happening, that when reality remembers itself in the body, it passes these teachings down from one to another. Countless beings across the ages. This profoundly sacred teaching. Who knows where it came from? Who knows where it'll take us? So with immense gratitude, we sit and rest. And knowing that we only receive this because of the compassion of all these beings that pass these teachings down. We rest in compassion and we offer that to everyone. Because we are so lucky. We have learnt the profound safety of our own mind. We've learned that everything's okay. And just how deeply we can rest and let go. Before we start, we just begin to set the intention that we'll share our lives with compassion from this moment on. Freely and without limit to all beings. Just allowing the mind to rest. Thoughts coming and going. Sounds and sensations coming and going. Allowing the mind to be in a deep state of acceptance. Desireless. Allowing every sound to be as it is, every sensation, every thought that comes and goes. We say I think, and we say I breathe, and we say I suffer and I enjoy, but who's this I? Turning the mind inwards and just staying with that sense of what's behind the eyes, what's looking out, what is it that's aware of thought, what is it that's aware of suffering. Just sitting with the very nature of our mind, watching the mind, that's all. Staying there. Just how changeless it is. It just is what it is, isn't it? All these ideas that you're somehow traumatized or you're suffering or things affect you, but when you look into the mind, it just simply is. There's a knowingness to it, a self-knowingness. The mind knows, and it knows that it knows. Mind, this light unconditionally and effortlessly illuminating every sound, every sensation, every thought that comes and goes. Sit with its nature. Thoughts rising and then crashing into this empty awareness, coming and going like clouds, the mind like the sky. Be the sky. Abide as the sky. And let clouds come and go. Be like the sky, not the least bit interested in what cloud formations arise, whether there's rain or whether there's clear sky. The sky's not bothered either way. Be like that. Know that your mind is reality. Your mind is existent. Allowing the mind to rest. This is not meditation, it's just resting mind. Liberating the mind from attachments and desires. By resting deeply. And as we slowly open our eyes, staying with that awareness of mind, just looking at mind, looking at what's looking. Can't find it, can't grasp it, but it's there, isn't it? It's like a complete emptiness, but it's so conscious. How does this complete emptiness manifest thought, and emotion, and perception, imagination? Well, how? Rest into the miracle of your own mind. It's like that, isn't it? It's effortlessly producing all of this thought, feeling, emotion. And when we look for it, we can't find it. But it's there. Unfathomable. It's completely unfathomable. There's no concept that can capture you. No words can define you. You're beyond freedom. The very concept of freedom is not there within you. So free. Can't point at your mind and say, this is it, this is what it's like. And you look at its nature, it's this, it's that, it's both this and that, and it's neither this and that. And the mind is like this, and everything's like this. The whole of existence is like this. Like the rainbow, it's here, it's there, it's not here and not there. Both here and there. All these conditions coming together and giving rise to things. They themselves are brought into existence by other conditions, and those themselves by other conditions. And nothing, we can't find the origin of anything. There's no primary cause. So how is it all being? How is it all happening? Profound mystery. beautiful, isn't it? Your mind creates so much suffering, but so much suffering. But your mind is also the solution to all of your problems. Your own nature, but looking at your own self resolves everything. So beautiful. You create this madness and then realise that you yourself are the thing that brings that to an end. Not by doing anything, but by realising what you are. What a journey. What a journey. If you could think of something, could you think of anything more beautiful, more poetic, more mysterious, more profound, more sacred? An incredible existence. You have to just fall in love with it when you see it, you know? Surrender to it and fall in love with it. It's too beautiful to think about, it's too beautiful to look at. But look at it. Know it. See it. Just like that, samsara is nirvana. You see how the perspective changes everything, the view changes everything. Completely and utterly surrender, without any reservation or hesitation. That's all you have to do. because you've now found this precious gem. Because you're profoundly safe. Because the teaching that resolves all suffering is embedded in your mind. As you move about your day, don't think of yourself. Think about ending the suffering of all the beings around you. Instead of moving through your day with delusion and judgment, you can walk through your day and love people. Be the sky in which everyone grows. Be the cause of their temporary and ultimate happiness. Act with pure wisdom and compassion. With absolute nobility. All of us are very, very, very lucky. We're all like beggars fumbling through the trash, and we found this great gem. No one knows how long this teaching's been around. No one knows where it came from. It's travelled through thousands of years to here and now. And we're profoundly lucky that it has. My hope, my wish, my prayer is that you all realise the enormity of it, and the fullness of it, and the perfection of it, and the profoundness of it, and the sacredness of it. And that after your days here are over, when you move through your life and you go home, that you completely dedicate your mind to it. It is the path. That you've been looking for. I've no doubt you've all asked, haven't you, for help. Called out to life at some point. You must have. And you must have meant it, and you must have meant it sincerely, otherwise you wouldn't be here. This wouldn't have happened, you know? Isn't it wonderful life listens to our prayers, it listens. moved through thousands of years to answer your prayers. you all very much for listening. Have a beautiful day. What time is it now? Enjoy your breakfast. Who's coming on the walk?
Still raining it.
Oh, I'm not sure. We'll see.
Cornelius,
Yeah.
I've got a question I'd like to ask.
Yeah, sure.
So, if we didn't have our senses,
Mhm.
so the sense of vision, hearing, touch,
Yeah.
sense means nothing. What would the mind be then? If you have no sight, you have no touch, you can't feel anything, you can't smell anything.
Beautiful
not
question.
the senses, there would be nothing.
So if we didn't,
It only exists because of your senses.
yes, if we didn't have our senses, what would there be? This is a profound question, you know. Look for the answer to that one. What is it that's aware of the senses? You know? What is it that's aware of the senses and the sensory information? You know? That nothingness is not so much a nothingness, because it illuminates all of the sensory information, doesn't it? Whatever that base is allows everything else to exist upon it. That thing you can't talk about, Brahman. You can't speak about that one. We might have had a little taste of it there. You know, we might have had a little taste of what it is, but we can't talk about that one. I can talk around it, I can dance around and point at it, but I'm just like a dog barking at the moon. You know, I hope that some of my barking, some of you'll think, what's he barking at? And then you'll all see the moon, you know? That's my hope, that you'll know that one prior to the sensory information, you know, that great one. That's what you are. Sensory information is just an experience. It's obvious, isn't it? When you go into deep sleep, the sensory information shuts down, doesn't it? Who's that one? You're still there, aren't you? Oh, great Brahman. Play lots of games with yourself. You love pretending to be something that you're not, and then remembering yourself. Good fun, though. Good fun. It does it, I suppose, the same reason you go to the cinema. Or the same reason you go to Disneyland. You get on the roller coaster, you like the scariness, doesn't you? Because you know you're safe. If you were experiencing the same roller coaster, but you were in a plane, you wouldn't be going, ah, would you? You'd go, ah! See, when you know it's a roller coaster life, when you know it's a roller coaster, you can go, ah! You know, we don't know what happens next. Ah! Any moment we're going to die. Ah! We fell out the tree and we keep falling. You know, when we're born. Ah! Like a shooting star. But you don't have to worry about it. Your existence, you are reality. What do you have to worry about? Everything arises in you like a dream. Now you know it's a dream. Now you can have fun. Now you can live and be open, I think that's the thing. You be open to everything. Grief, sadness, loss. You know, my enemy's trying to slay me, my friend's loving me. You know, yes. All good fun. You know. But as I said at the end, this positive, noble intention, bring that about in this dream. That's my suggestion. You know, before your practice in the morning, if you want to sit and have a little bit of moment of remembrance, or you know, you can say, just I give myself fully over to this, this great wisdom and this great compassion, and I live through that. I open myself up to be a channel of great compassion for the sake of others, for the sake of all living beings. May I become a mystical spell, a gem, a wish-granting tree. May I become the sky in which all grow. May I achieve full enlightenment, not for myself, but for the sake of all beings, you know? Give yourself to that every morning. See how it changes your life. Stop worrying about whether you're gaining or attaining, you're getting, and what you're upset by or what you're not upset by, Give rise to the potential of that emptiness in your mind, that great potential you have. That all these beings from all these different religions and philosophies have spoken about, that potential. Give rise to that. The reason why people don't attain enlightenment is because they're running around looking for it for a self that doesn't exist. You're trying to get enlightenment like this, I want it to come inward, I want it to come inward. No, it's not that. Reality comes in the body and outwards. Reality wants to express itself with wisdom and compassion. It's not for a little you to sit there going, oh, I'm enlightened, this is fun. No. You die to it. This is what you have to do. Give yourself surrender to it. Let yourself dissolve into it. Take me. Do what you want with me.
Can you talk a bit about living in the world with fat?
Mm-hmm.
Because we give up that being who's striving, who's wanting to protect, who's wanting to preserve.
Yeah, paradigm shift.
Give all that away. But most people don't want to be hermits or...
You don't have to be a hermit. You can have this and go into the world. In fact, I thought about running away and living in India in a monastery or something, When I first had this, I was like, oh, I need to get away from everything now. But actually that's selfish. In my mind. Maybe there'll come a time when I've had enough and I've done my thing and I want to sit and rest. But actually going into the world and loving and being kind and trying to use this time to end suffering and to be something of value is really important. So try and do that as you go about your life. Rejig your life so that you're actually doing that. Otherwise you're wasting your time. You're not, when you sit with this and when you really realise it at depth, you're not going to be able to get about your day how you used to. You're just not. You'll still do your duties, you'll still be a mother and a father, and a friend and a lover and a business owner or whatever, but you'll start doing things very, very differently. And what isn't aligned with this will fall away. And amen to all that, So it will change everything. But go about your day, Go into the office and just go about your day, go and do your work and perform your duties, and when you're not performing your duties, go for a walk, go for a rest, go and stare at the river, go and look at the sky, read books about people that have realised this maybe. Spend your time looking at your own self, turning your mind inwards, staying with that sense that we did this morning, staying like that. Imagine if you did what we did this morning every day. But you don't have to sit down on your aloneness to do it. Maybe to start off with. But I do this every morning. Every morning I do this. Sometimes all day I do this. Not when I'm teaching, but on my own I do this. Some of my most profound realizations when I'm driving to work, stuck in traffic and the radio's on. Because in my mind I'm doing this. Whatever's happening, I'm doing this. But when I first had this illumination, I carried on much the same as I did. And there was still selfishness and still, I was still running in the world trying to profit and avoid loss quite a lot. But after I had that, But that's fallen away, and very recently it's changed a lot. My desires have dropped. And there's this inescapable compassion. I can't do anything about it. I can't stop it. You want people to be happy, and you want to help them become happy. On one level I know that there's no people and everything's great Brahman and everything's wonderful, but it doesn't change the fact that you see someone and they're not happy because they don't know themselves. So you want people to know themselves, and so my life's resolving into that now. I just want to do that. That's all I want to do. I don't want anything else. And that's from this cultivating, this intention within this awakening, having these teachings, and then with these teachings, cultivating that sense of absolute just compassion, willing it in, I ask you all to do that in the morning if you want. If you really want to stick the rocket fuel, the nitroglycerin in your spiritual path, Ooh, profound. Stop praying for yourself. Then your prayers are going to be answered. You stop praying for yourself, then miracles are going to happen. You sit every morning, and you're saying, there's so much sickness I see in the world. Until all that sickness and the whole universe, in fact, is healed, may I become for them the doctor, the nurse, the medicine itself. For those wishing to cross the water, may I become a raft, a boat, a bridge. May I only become a cause for other people's happiness and enlightenment. That's a prayer.
That unfolds according to, you were saying before, that unfolds according to your nature.
Yeah, you always have a particular nature. I mean, this wisdom and whatever is arising from it arises within this mind body, and I'm still, like I said, a son, a brother, a friend. I'm still, there's still a Cornelius apparently appearing, with its peculiarities. I'm sitting here and I talk like this. When I go into the kitchen, I don't go, I'm great Brahman, how is everyone? I go in there and they go, where have you been? Breakfast is bloody late, we've got the thing on the table, you need to go and get this, you need to go and get yogurt. Have you got the yogurt? Where's the yogurt? Oh, I don't know. I've been teaching. I do all that shit, because that's what it is. What do you mean I have to go and get yogurt? Why can't he go and get yogurt? For God's sake, come on. Why is everyone just... That's what happens, That's my nature as well, It's hectic, isn't it? Life, when you get out there, But increasingly you start to wake up in that, the clarity. When you first realise this truth, it's like, wow, this is it. And then you go out, you will leave here at the end of the retreat, and then you'll, 2 or 3 days later, you'll feel like it's gone. It hasn't gone, it's embedded in you now, that's it. Job done. When it's the time is right, it will completely consume you now. That's it. But
It's about propagation.
it's not even about it's in, that's it. It'll now work out according to your karma, according to your nature, it's embedded.
How do you deal with the endless distractions that you have, the endless worries, the endless torment of the outside world, of the constantly conflicting situations you find yourself in?
It's just fine, isn't it? What do I have to worry about it?
So there's faith.
Yeah, concrete confidence in it. Yeah, that's why you should get concrete confidence in it. Look for this is why questions are so important. I keep asking you questions. Resolve all doubts about this. You will be able to resolve all doubts. This is watertight, I guarantee you. In every way you look at every facet, you cannot find a hole in this teaching. It's not mine either. I'm not sitting here banging my own drum. I'm as lucky as you are to have been exposed to this. We're all beggars that have found the diamond in the trash. But yeah, you'll go out into the world and you'll forget, and then if you keep stewing on this, through your day, you know, every now and then. Maybe you forget about it for weeks, and all of a sudden you think, oh, I might watch a YouTube about someone else that's thought about this stuff, or I might go and see Cornelius in one of his classes, or I might go and do this. You'll keep doing that, and eventually you'll realise the ridiculousness of not this, you know? You'll realise the ridiculousness of, I want, what she said, I don't like her, I fucking hate her, and I love him, and where's he going to break my heart, oh no, so-and-so's dead, you'll realise the ridiculousness of it, you know? And that's when, you know, you start to be able to go into the kitchen and have a about coconut yogurt, and who's got the wrong yogurt, and this yogurt's got corn flour in, and we don't have corn flour, and how we cut, it's got too many additives, okay, I'm going to go and get the yogurt. You can do that, and then be like, it's okay, you know? And also, like, when big things happen, like death, you know, you're not flippant about it at all. You're in it. You grieve, you're sad, you know, but there's peace there as well. There's this great peace and this great acceptance and this is it. You know, this is how it is. This is the flow of life. There's an acceptance of the sacredness of the coming and going. Life is incredibly beautiful. It appears, but it won't be imprisoned by anything. It will not be imprisoned by immortality. It will fall back into itself and appears. You know. Great Shiva dancing, great Brahman dancing. You know. So don't try and make it do anything other than what it's doing. It's very profoundly beautiful. Just sit and watch, as though you're admiring a piece of art. This is what you're doing. You're admiring a piece of art. You've been looking at the most beautiful piece of art in the world, going, there's something wrong with you. I need you to change this. I need you to change that. My invitation is just not to do that. Admire the art. Let it speak to you. Surrender yourself to it. Love it. See what it does. See what it does. I cannot communicate to you what it does. I can communicate all these teachings, but there are things that I can't speak about because there aren't words that contain them. But you'll see by going in within your own self, the enormity of it begins to express itself in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways, you know. That piece of art consumes you, you know, you become it. And your life becomes an expression of that. So yeah, don't worry about going into the world. Go into the world, perform your duties. When you're not performing your duties, commit to this. Grieve, be happy, be sad. Go to Disneyland, go to wherever, go to work, come home, be a father, be a partner. Do whatever you need to do, but spend some time with this. You have a very, 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 very lucky set of circumstances that have arisen for you. Very, 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 very lucky. You're a human being. You're alive in reality. And you've been given all the secrets of that reality that have been passed down thousands and thousands of years. Take advantage.
Are you talking to individuals?
I don't believe in individual. I might appear that I talk to you as though you're an individual, but I'm not, you know. I see you, I know you. You're Brahman, you know. You are reality I'm looking at. So I don't see a sense of self. You know, I'm talking to myself.
I feel a sense of sadness and regret if there's no individuals.
Yeah, because you think you're an individual. And you think they're individual. But really they're life manifesting as an individual. Life appearing as a form. Your wife, your child, is the beloved. It's the embodiment of reality.
But no different to anything else.
Very, very different and very, very the same. Both things happening in the same space. There's duality apparently arising, isn't there? I am everything and this. Hot, dark, light, cold. Love, hate. Existence. Apparently a contracted sense of existence that has all this difference swirling around it. You know? I am formlessness that's arisen as form, and we are all exactly the same thing, and yet we appear different. I mean, this is incredible. You cannot grasp what's happening. It's too profound. It's too profound. When you sit and you accept and you surrender and you love it, you start to see it. When you look at the piece of art, isn't it? So they go, I don't like that. Look at her hair. I'm not sure she'll use the brushstrokes. But sometimes if you just sit, you've walked past these paintings so many times. Sometimes if you sit and look at one and you're like, well, look at her face. She appears like that. You can really see the person. It looks as though she's alive almost. And look at the way the shawl is and how she's leaning on the table. And she's sad. Well, no, does she look satisfied? Or she looks like she's been through something. Do you see? See how differently you can observe a piece of art? Well, you do the same with reality. Rather than, I want this, I want that, I don't want this, I do want that, I'm so unhappy, I wish. Just sit and watch. And you'll see the enormity of it, and you'll try and grasp hold of it with your mind, and you can't. You just look at it, it's like I'm Brahman, and I'm this, and there's emptiness, and there's form, and there's time. There appears to be time, but there's only the now. I've only ever been in the now. And the past, I believe that there's a past, but I've only ever experienced what was the past in the now. And I worry about a future, but the future never comes, because when it comes, it's the now, and there's only the now, and there's this event horizon, and I'm in it. I can't communicate it. I can't communicate it. It's too profound, you know? Only ever this nowness, isn't there? And all this dream of everything and everything happening and past and future and evolution and what's going on, you know? Absolute awe, that's what you fall into. Absolute awe. If I believed I was a self in a body, I'd be terrified of it. Because it's so incredible. But I'm not a self in a body. I'm great emptiness. And this is all dancing in me, as me. I'm it. And I don't have to worry, and I don't have to be afraid. I'm profoundly safe. My nature's changeless. I'm beyond free. So I can sit and I can look. And I can be overwhelmed, you know. I tell you, spend some time with it. Spend some time looking at it. Not being absorbed in delusions and things like this. It's such a waste of time. You're alive. What the fuck? You know? What the fuck is going on? Sit with it. Who gives a fuck what's happening? It's happening. What is it? What's going on? Just enjoy. Just sit. Just watch. Enjoy, suffer. Let it all go on. Why are you trying to profit from it? What are you afraid of it? Oh, don't do that. I'm so scared. It's happening. It's happening. It's it. This is it. Whatever it's doing is whatever it's doing. Just accept it and just admire and watch. And be in awe of it, you know. You know? Let your mind be blown to bits. Hopefully your mind will be blown to bits. It's very good news. It's wonderful. The more you think about it, the more wonderful it gets. And that wonderfulness will consume you. And like I said, it's in now, that's it. It's in there. Don't worry about, how do I do it? And how do I hang on to this? And done. Transmission over. Thank you very much. Enjoy. enjoy your breakfast. I'm going to go and get told off about being late and coconut yogurt.
Back to reality.
Yeah, back to Annie.